I'm Greg Nibler, and it is now time for another edition of Tech Briefs, where I am joined by the technology editor for Flipboard, Mr. Ken Young. Hello, Ken.
Hey, Greg, nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well, and it's time to talk about some tech. So a lot to cover here from this last week. As usual, we'll do our best to get this all in about 10 minutes. To start off, let's go back to the beginning of the week and talking about Google Maps. Now, normally that wouldn't be something where I'm saying this is the biggest story of the week, but it is actually a pretty big tech story because it was the 15-year anniversary of Google Maps this week, and they rolled out some new features to go along with it. But I think just kind of thinking back and realizing we haven't always had Google Maps. What went on before that? How did I get anywhere before Google Maps? And just realizing what a dominant force it's become when it comes to that is an important thing to take a look back at. And they did have some of these new features just to try to help you get around using mass transit, some future features that could be coming out with augmented reality, but awesome stuff that they're actually adding on to it that can actually increase the usability of it in a lot of different factors. I thought it was a pretty great rollout.
Yeah, so I was looking back again 15 years ago. What were we doing? I remember getting around using MapQuest. This is a part where you could get it, but you had to print out the instructions.
Yep.
And so as you're driving, you had this sheet of paper that you're looking at. So obviously that went by the wayside. And then there was a popularity of GPS devices from Garmin and TomTom, Magellan, those type of things. I believe people still use those. I still actually have a Garmin GPS device in my car should my phone lose signal. But Google Maps has kind of become the dominant way to get around in terms of figuring out what's going on. And maps by themselves don't seem that interesting, but it's fascinating to see how technology has kind of made it more interesting to kind of really open up the world and allow you to see what's around there beyond just this flat two-dimensional rendering of the world. You can actually now go look at Street View as Google has made a good investment in having their Street View cars and people with those giant camera backpacks walking around and really opening up and giving you a picturesque view of things like the Grand Canyon, of your neighborhoods, and once in a while, I think that people look at Google Maps in terms of the Street View and kind of see like, hey, am I in these type of images? So now with the 15 years, it's time for an overhaul. They're facing a little bit more of a competition, including that from Apple Maps, which recently released a bit of an update. So now this is going to be more of a social network kind of vibe, not necessarily like Buzz or Wave or like Facebook or LinkedIn, but they're going to want you to contribute more. So they're surfacing more of these features that have been for a while hidden by the wayside, hidden behind the scenes. So you're going to be able to contribute more. They're going to use machine learning, AI to kind of really understand what are you interested in and kind of and highlight things that you might want to know about, like where to find this great meal at a nearby restaurant.
And that's what I love, that integration, looking back from the 15 years of where they've come, but looking forward, and they said there's some more features rolling out. I think it's March with using augmented reality and kind of covering what you were talking about and seeing how it's going to go from there and how much more of a guide it's going to be. They said some of the features are going to be a little less obtrusive when you're actually holding it up and utilizing that live view. But it's pretty cool to see where they're going. And like you said, there is still some competition out there, but certainly they are the dominant one right now. And there's, I don't think, much question about that. You have Apple Maps who did a little bit of an update, but Google Maps, celebrating 15 years, definitely worthy of talking about, and more things on the way. And speaking of more things on the way, next week is the Samsung Unpacked event. This is the first, I would say one of the first really big ones here of this new year after CES, where we're going to see a major product unveiled, and that is what we're going to talk about, is what we kind of expect to happen at this Samsung event on February 11th. And this is their Galaxy One Unpacked, and it's one thing I guess we do know, we're pretty sure this is going to happen. I'm confident on saying this is going to happen, is we're going to see the new Galaxy S20 phone, which isn't going to be the S11, the S20. They're skipping up ahead, and so the numbering system's going to change. A few different versions supposedly coming out, but definitely the S20 is going to be one of the main features of this event.
Yeah. I mean, this is the best part of the year for me. I mean, I have a Samsung device, so this is the time where I'm like, am I actually going to upgrade for this? And this is kind of I'm kind of caught up in an odd situation because look, the S10 that I have now is really great. Whether or not there's going to be compelling features in the S20, that remains to be seen. One thing, this is they're going to have 5G in them. These will be among the first phones to have the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chip that was announced at their Snapdragon Summit in November. The first one that will actually be around will be ZTE to have that chip, but Samsung will be among the first to have that. The cameras on here will be astronomically great. I mean, I think if you go for the S20 Ultra, so there's going to be 3 different types of S20s. There's going to be the basic one, the S20, then the S20 Pro, and then the S20 Ultra. The S20 Ultra is the top of the line one for those that are going to be creators. This one is probably going to have at least 1.5 terabytes of storage. It's going to have a hefty amount of RAM in there. And of course, what's notable is this is going to have 4 lenses on it. The S20 Ultra is going to have 4 lenses on it. The last lens will have, I believe, is 108 megapixels. So this is going to be a beast of a device. Whether or not you're willing to pay maybe up to between $1,400 to $1,500, I believe, is the rumored price for the S20 Ultra. The base, the S20, is rumored to be about like $1,000 to $1,100. That price point may turn people off. I mean, I know that price point has me rethinking whether or not this is actually going to be worth it. I'm interested to see what additional features are going to be available in the S20 to really make it worth that while. And I mean, who knows what will be available? It's probably, this from a software standpoint, it's going to be pretty much going to be the same. But I mean, this is it's time for all the new phones to come out this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, like you said, what are the advancements that we're going to see on it? I mean, I'm expecting probably some more AR. Augmented reality seems to be a really big key component of a lot of new releases when it comes to the software side of things and utilizing all of those cameras that are on the back. So hopefully we get some surprises there. Just briefly to cover a couple of other things. The other one, we believe there's going to be a new Samsung Galaxy Mini home speaker. I mean, is that something everybody wants? I don't know, but it's been a long time coming.
When is the original home coming out?
Right?
When is that coming out?
And that's a big question that'll be answered. So there's that. You can read more about that on Digital Trends or Flipboard. But another big question is, will we get the new Fold, the kind of sequel, if you will, to the Galaxy Fold? And it's rumored to be called the Galaxy Fold Z is one of the names that's out there. This would be more of a clamshell-style phone. And which I think it's kind of along the lines of what the Motorola Razr Fold is that was just released. But there's also been some speculation that they may not actually show this at the event, and they may wait. And I can understand why there's some apprehension. We all know how the Fold rolled out last year. So hopefully they'll showcase something with it. I would like to see something along those lines, but it may not actually show up.
Well, I mean, are they basically repeating the exact process that they did last year? I mean, if you remember, I believe it was DJ Ko was on stage and he showed off the Galaxy Fold. But then at the end, it was not available for anyone to really see. Media could not actually see the device. It was actually a few months later before that device was actually shown, and it was behind a plexiglass. I believe it was MWC, Mobile World Congress, where you could just see it, but you couldn't actually really hold it or touch it or anything like that. And we all know what happened to the Galaxy Fold afterwards. The reviews went out, but it broke. So then Samsung had to do some crisis control over there. So whether or not this is actually going to happen again, Samsung said that that's not going to happen. I mean, the rumors are that it's going to have some, I guess, some special glass on there. But of course, let's look at what happened with the Motorola Razr. I mean, that was, that came out just this week. But there are some people saying, like, look, this is not it's not as sturdy as it should be. So I think foldables in general have a long way to go. But look, I think what's compelling is to look at, the different ways you're opening the form factor between the Samsung Galaxy Fold and this new clamshell version. And this might be a little bit more compelling. I mean, Samsung said they sold, I believe, 500,000 Galaxy Folds last year. So, what is that benchmark for this year, whether or not this is something that people will want to use? And will Samsung have improved on the display? And
Right.
will there be that plastic film on there that people should not take off?
I'm going to guess that they'll maybe change that up, but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see if this comes out. One other thing, too, just from the Samsung Unpacked event, Google was teasing that they have something exciting to announce, so maybe that could be part of that augmented reality or the Google Maps feature rolling out. Maybe there's a combo of the two. We'll have to see, but that's coming up on February 11th. You can follow along at Digital Trends for all that info. Last thing I wanted to mention just really quickly was just to follow along with coverage at Digital Trends and Flipboard about everything that's going on with the coronavirus. That may seem like an odd thing to the uninitiated to bring up on a tech broadcast, but obviously it's a terrible humanitarian issue that is going on, but also it is affecting a lot of businesses and a lot of tech and all kinds of different industries. And you may see delays on some of the products. That would be the minimum issue. You may see other kinds of things. MWC may be canceled because of it. That's a possibility. There's more and more companies backing out, so this is having an effect on a lot of things. I just want to let everybody know you can follow along at Digital Trends and Flipboard for all of that coverage. Ken, we're out of time. It's always a struggle to pack in so much in such a short amount of time. But as always, thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.